educate, empower, enable, impact. Thank you for tuning in to That Will Never Work podcast, where we share inspiring information and personal experiences related to business and the entrepreneurial journey from those who are leaders in their respective field. Now, here's your host, author and business coach, Maurice.
Thank you very much for tuning in today. I appreciate it. You know, I have this gentleman here, man. We're gonna just have some fun. This is gonna be a fun show. I can feel it coming already. He is an American entrepreneur. He's in the top 1% growth. Consultant, a business master. After becoming a 2-time self-published author, running 3 separate businesses, and speaking in front of global audiences, his wealth of actionable knowledge is impacting the masses. I've learned a little bit about him, whether or not he started making money at 11 or 13 and, hustling. He has that ability to just bring you along, make you want to, hey, you know what? I'm ready to take myself and my stuff to another level because of the personality, how he makes you comfortable in every situation, in any and every situation. And I thank you very much for coming on today. And I want to introduce to all of you, or to some of you might have seen him already, on social media and everything else. John, thank you very much for coming on the show today.
Thank you very much for having me, and thank you for the great intro. I'm excited. We chatted up before this, so we're ready to get going. We're already flowing, so it's time to deliver the goods for the people.
Man, we hate that we did not hit the record button beforehand, right?
yeah, we definitely should, but we got it.
Oh yeah, we good. So listen, man, so on your website, and we will of course add that in the show notes, and you will have a chance to talk about it a little later. So we're talking about 4 ways to learn from you, for anyone that's doing a 9 to 5, entrepreneur, CEOs, things like that. And there's a part in here that says step 4, and you ask businesses, does your business earn $1 million per year? And I had mentioned to you that sometimes we look at that, we hear other coaches and consultants that talk about that. Hey, you know what? We stop in our tracks when we hear that. So why do you ask that type of question first?
The reason why is for marketing and targeting purposes of wanting to work with direct people. So what I've realized over the years is that my time, doing consulting, one, for it to be effective and one, for it to even be absorbed, it has to be from usually a pre-existing business that's already pretty successful. So I've decided, when I do consulting, that's got to be with kind of a top tier, well-performing business or company. So I put that in there to keep out people who, again, my information isn't going to be received well. This high level of information, really, really deep, analytical, covering a lot of stuff that isn't for beginners at all, which I do have stuff for them too, which is cool.
Right.
But yeah, it's kind of a qualifier. It's for targeting, and it's my primo. I believe in business. You don't want to ever have to convince someone to buy from you. That means you're talking to the wrong person. You want to be working directly with as much as you can possibly manage, which isn't perfect all the time. But you want to be working with people who can afford and who actually want and who actually need your services. So that's kind of a combination of reason why at least that part of working with me, other than the other parts, is there, because I want to be able to actually help someone. And with that level of information, it kind of matches up with someone. If they're doing 500,000 or 200,000, I'm not necessarily going to really turn them away. In some circumstances, it depends on the person. It just helps qualify. You've got some experience to meet me where I can meet you.
So here's something that you have said within what you were talking about. Because you made a statement about people wanting my services, right?
Yes.
And sometimes we think that what we're providing, we're answering a question that's out there, right? But it seems like we're not getting people in to buy that. So how would you suggest for someone to get to that point?
To get to that point, what I'll say beforehand is actually, I think, more important is realize that a lot of people, especially when you're first getting started, like you're saying, it seems like no one's watching. It seems like no one's interacting. It seems like there's no viewers. Oh, I get whatever likes, whatever comments, whatever reception, no responses. you have to realize that there are people watching. Even if it's a small portion, they are. And the reason why they haven't taken action or why you haven't gotten more engagement is because you haven't provided either enough value or you haven't given them actual content worthy of them engaging with.
Okay.
So that's the big thing is you have to actually meet and produce at such a level of the content or whatever product or services you're offering that your audience naturally wants to interact with it. And also, again, just realize that there are people watching who you don't know who will eventually reach out. It's the long-term game.
Right.
So a good example of this is I had some work I did with Frank Kern. Frank Kern in the digital marketing world, at least where I'm from, Frank Kern's like my Michael Jordan. He's my OG, probably my favorite marketer. He's a saying, Frank is your homie, because he's a very just relaxed guy, really cool guy. And I got to work with him because someone on his team saw a piece of content I produced, and they liked the messaging, so they just reached out to me and ended up in a monetarily and kind of really cool for me working with someone who I watched my entire life growing up. Their business produced hundreds of millions of dollars in sales. I got to work with a cool person who made me a lot of money. While I wasn't a big name, he was a big name, but someone on his team found me. People just know that your messaging is being received. You just have to provide enough value, interact, and create content messaging, etc., from a variety of ways, because you have to actually also relate with people. And some people it takes a little bit of storytelling. Some people take storytelling and social proof. Some people take storytelling, social proof, and you name it to get them to actually get involved. Now we'll get to the other part of your question is kind of, how can someone get started with it, I guess, and have faith that it's going to work out? I think a piece of what I said is true. I also think the getting over yourself is the biggest obstacle in people's way. You know, when I first started on camera and my dad first started, because he taught me, I'm second generation digital marketer, you know, really shaking and it looks unprofessional. And there's stuff in the background. The background looks horrible.
Right.
All these different things. I think that I would say not even getting over yourself. The most important message I have is that of those few or many people viewing your message, someone needs that message. Someone will resonate with that, and that could literally change someone's perspective and change the rest of their life, even though it doesn't seem like it. So I actually think of it from a way of serving and giving, like actually giving value that people will actually, wow, I love that. That actually changed a little bit of how I think about entrepreneurship, making money, etc. And that drives you, or should drive someone. It drives me to want to create content, start a business, use different things, because I'm leading with, I want to actually serve people. And if I can do it in the right way, I'll make a bit of money and I'll actually help someone too. So someone who's afraid to get themselves out there in any way, whether it's for the business, they want to be an influencer, they want to do any of these things. It's just realize your job is to actually to serve people. It's not to serve yourself. And that also resonates with the audience when you actually can emanate that. And also it can make you some money. And it's something that can be really fun to do too. So hell, why not?
Right. So you talk about being a digital marketer, you know, so if we're talking about being social media, you know, those type of things, as far as marketing, a lot of times we may not put ourselves out there based off of who we see, and especially those that might be in our market, you know, so sometimes we feel as though our voice might not be as loud as someone who is a little more vocal, a little more out there, has made more experience. So how would you encourage someone to get over that hump, saying, "Hey, you know what? My voice is just as important as theirs."
Right, and that's something that I think a lot of people go through. They like, you know, all these other bigger voices or ones that are more outrageous or more exciting. Is there's someone who relates to you as well. That's kind of the whole messaging is someone will relate to you and doesn't relate to Jack or Jill or whoever else is creating content, whoever else is on social media, whoever else ads, whatever they're seeing. People relate to different personality types. And also just because someone seems to be louder or seems to be more seen doesn't also mean that's the case. So some of it can be a facade. Some of it can be paid for. Some of it could be they get a lot of audience engagement, but they actually don't make a lot of money. There's a lot of that behind the scenes that people don't see as well. So I think people have to realize, one, your job is to serve. Two, if you're looking at other people, you're looking at the wrong direction. You should be looking at yourself. And realize that just the numbers, while they can be important, it's not the whole story. Two things can be true at once, because we base, engagement, likes, views, etc. as impact. But I'll go to a short little story of an example of this was one of my first sales.
Okay.
Again, this is if I'm a 16-year-old kid, I have no clue what I'm doing. At that time, I'm in high school. At that time, I had no friends. I just marketed when I got home. Straight A's honor student. I was a nerd. You name it. Through creating content, at the time, I did a lot of website design, funnel design services. I still do a lot of that, like marketing services, building websites, you name it. Out of the blue, and again, I don't get a lot of engagement on my LinkedIn. Some posts get 5 likes, some get 0, some get 2. Not a big audience. And there's many other people who have a much bigger voice than me. Absolutely. Regardless, it led to a guy who was the CEO or co-partner of a company called Influencer. It's some kind of influencer LinkedIn program, even though I'm not big on LinkedIn myself. So someone who's really big in LinkedIn, who teaches it and charges tens of thousands of dollars at the time, reached out to me because I had posted about building funnels and such and said, hey, we want to work with you. And I, 16-year-old kid, I go, sure, let's talk. So I talk with this person, and at the time I'm barely making any money.
Right.
I'm working at Walmart 5 hours a day after school. I was a hardworking kid, and so like $1,000 would have been sick.
Right.
I'm on a call with them, and they go, how much do you want us to pay you? We believe in you. And this is after I had a conversation working with them.
Wow.
I wasn't a bestseller. I wasn't like some really good genius communicator. So I was just some young kid who probably sounded a bit like this because my voice was still going through puberty.
Right.
And I could tell, though, they were a higher ticket, kind of like they had some money. They could budget some more. So I went $8,600. They went, let's do it. Yes. And that was my big... wow, okay. You can actually, even without knowing what you're doing, really, you can still make some money. And it doesn't take as much, I think, as people think to get the results they're looking for. It's just the action itself over and over and over and over again, consistently, with a varying degree of relating to your audience, and push into your audience, because if I would have made whatever post I would have made, it wouldn't have reached them through the LinkedIn algorithm. That was the $8,600, one of my first big clients when I was 15, 16 years old.
Right.
So get over yourself. Realize your job is to serve someone. And if you can create the right messaging, illustrating how you actually care about your audience and you can actually help them, you will generate customers, be able to grow a business, etc. over time. It just takes some belief in yourself, which a lot of times entrepreneurs struggle with.
Right.
For sure. And
most definitely
faith, and it's going to work out.
So something that you pointed out, and this is, you said it more than once. If you're a marketer, right, and unfortunately, some of us depend 100% on social media, which we understand sometimes that's not the best way to go. But we're thinking that we need no less than 100 likes. You get what I mean? Because you said something about getting 5, getting 0, whatever else.
Yeah.
But I think one of the things that we don't understand as digital marketers, or some of us that are trying to use that, is not about what you see on the outside. It's all the stuff that's behind the scenes, the numbers that's behind the scenes. So can you touch that on that a little bit? That
yes.
So people can understand. Hey, as a marketer, or if I'm trying to market my product or my service, it's not about the likes. It's about all the other stuff.
It's not about the likes. It's about, like I said, most importantly, actually relating to people. So you have to understand. I recommend anyone who's listening, if you want to be in business or be successful in your life at all, the number one skill of every single person I know in business is knowing how to communicate, and communicate well and clearly, articulately. Because the reason why that person and a couple other higher ticket people worked with me when I was so young and I didn't know what I was doing was because, one, I articulated myself with some ability. Again, I wasn't super competent then.
Right.
But also, I suggest knowing how to communicate, but also what backs it up is confidence and being so genuine, so caring, and presenting that in your language. That's what I was good at. I was amazing at articulating, like, I will do this. I will work on your project until it works. I am willing to do anything to make it work. If it doesn't, I will work for you until it is an absolute success. Now, I'm not perfect for the job, but I actually care about making this. That is so powerful compared to just, hi, I do a lot of this, and I can get you results. I promise. Marketing messages. I do a lot less marketing.
Right.
The business should do a lot less marketing and a lot more relating in building a genuine, real relationship with people. And I'll also say, yeah, from my experiences, especially seeing or talking to a lot of people behind the scenes of who get a lot of engagement, who get a lot of likes, who get a lot of whatchamacallit, people got to realize it is not the same behind the scenes. It is not the grandiose picture you see in the front. In fact, that's a lot of business. I just saw a study that was released of the average influencer, what they make a month. The average, that's including people who are making millions too, people who aren't making very much, is like $136 per month. So you take the average, including people who are making millions, tens of millions. Oh, there's not that many people who are making this stuff work, is there?
Right.
Which shouldn't be obstacle saying, oh, it doesn't work, or I can't make it succeed. It just means actually there's more room than you think. And it doesn't take that much to get actually where you want to go. Real quickly, I'll also suggest people, if you want to be an entrepreneur, or if you are an entrepreneur and you want to make more money faster with less effort, I highly suggest being in high ticket, whether it's a high ticket service, a high ticket product. The difference of making an $8,600 sale when you're 16, for example, is literally like life changing. At that point, I mean, most people, an $8,600 sale, let's just say you keep 5,000 of it for 3,000 of it. That's a huge boost in income. So I suggest going high ticket. Now people say, oh, it's high ticket. That's difficult. That's hard. It's just as easy as selling a $32 product, because what people don't, again, realize, whether it's B2B, B2C, selling toilet paper or selling TVs, is you're always dealing with people. Your job is always relating with people. And that same process of knowing how to relate, give value, and be genuine is always exactly the same, regardless if you're talking to whether it's a CEO, whether the company's doing $50 million a year, or whether they're doing $20 a month. It does not matter. You're dealing with people. And if you can learn how to communicate, learn how to be genuine, and have so much passion and caring, which is why what I try to get across to people, and I hope they feel it, that's going to make a world's difference. And that will outcompete, one last message on that will outcompete all the numbers. Because you have a lot of conversion. You have a higher percentage of people who are seeing your message actually buying from you, because while they have engagement, you have actually giving value, helping, genuineness, which is far exceeds many, many different things and numbers that I can get into.
So, one of the things that you talk about is investing into social media ads. And you know what? And you talking about that, you talk about, hey, don't do that. Look at, you reference, hey, you don't have to do that in order to grow. You don't have to do that to see profits. As you stated, you turn what you were already doing into $8,600 at 16 years old. So
without spending a dime. And I think that's the biggest misnomer too, is people are afraid of, like, one, if you are going to go the social media ad route, start with $10 a day. Or $20. Like, that's actually, like, right now I'm working with a guy named John Cristani. He's a huge affiliate marketer, one of the biggest in our space. All of his ads, and this is like all big marketers, Frank Kern, etc. All these entrepreneurs, you start ad campaigns with a very low budget, because otherwise you don't know how they're going to perform. So you have to initially. And two, if you don't want to use paid, or you can't afford paid, just like you're saying, like, you can do it for free. It's going to take more time. It's going to take more effort, but you'll build actually a stronger, more genuine audience And that's the long-term game of social media marketing, of building an actual presence. And that's the difference between the people you see with a lot of numbers. A lot of times people who are hyper successful in social media and other things, the reason why they're engaged with is just because they have the ambiance of being successful, not because their content is actually good, not because their content is actually valuable, none of those different things. So, creating to help people create free content, get some kind of an impact, generate leads, customers, get the business growing, get their just audience growing even before they have a business, no matter what you're doing. I highly suggest that, like we kind of talked about, people, if you can, when you are creating social media content, number one, if you're creating anything short form, so TikTok, Reels, Shorts, etc., what you want to do is, number one, focus on one main platform. Choose YouTube, choose TikTok, choose Twitter, choose one. Then this is the platform you create all of your content from, mainly. And then once you create, say, 2 short form videos, 20, 30, 10, 60-second videos, short form on, say, YouTube Shorts, you syndicate it and spread it to all your platforms. Very easy. You get the video made, you just upload it to all these other platforms. So you focus on one main following, and you kind of syndicate and help these ones a little bit. But your job is to first master, because a lot of people spread themselves thin, saying, I need to grow on Instagram, I need to grow on YouTube, I need to grow on master one. And then once you master one, then you spread it out, you can master a second. So short form, 2 videos a day or 3, 1 in the morning, 1 in the evening, kind of late at night. And then also, if you can, to make that even easier, create long form content that you can split and cut up a lot of short form content from. That, and then just literally every day. And I also advise consistency, and I also advise people create different marketing angles, different ways to present yourself, because in any audience, there's different types of people who relate to different types of information. Like I said before, you might like storytelling. I like social proof. Some people might like a walkthrough of the history of why the product was created. People relate to different things. And they also relate secondarily to different messages. So you might like social storytelling, you might like a little social proof, you might like a little bit of humor. So you want to use a variety of these different ways to communicate, just like you would like if you were on a date, or if you were talking to someone. You got to be a little funny, you got to be a little charming, you got to take care of the bill. There's a bunch of different things you can do. Use that in your messaging, and it works really well. I pulled up here as we were talking a quick little example of this. Have you seen The Matrix?
Yes.
So people may not see this, but what I'm showing is basically a video of me on my YouTube channel with a Matrix outfit, with a red and blue pill, kind of doing a Matrix scene. And this is on my YouTube channel. And this is something I created a video with the Matrix idea relating to how people can start a business, grow a business online. I send this out to our email list. Immediate sales. It's silly. It's unprofessional, quote unquote. It's different. But because I'm showing genuine personality and I'm relating in different ways, the content actually works.
Wow. John, man, we're going to have a part 2.
I know.
We're going to have a part 2. But, John, I appreciate everything that you've offered today, most definitely. So listen, John, how can people get in touch with you? Because I think one of the things that you touched on is understanding our organic people, right? Understanding, trying to understand who is our avatar, and understand what those numbers are, like you say, engagement, whatever it is, because some of that will help influence our ad spend or whatever it might be. So where can they reach out to you and talk to you a little bit more, or someone on your team, or, about that type of stuff?
For sure. So first of all, you can just go to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/@John Weberg, or just look up John Weberg. Watch. I give a lot of really good free advice on how to generate leads for free, different free lead sources, different free traffic sources, a lot of marketing, business, you name it, advice is on there. Like, just absorb and apply. That's the biggest thing is people watch, they never apply. Apply what you learn.
Right.
And then if you want to learn more about me too, and different ways you can actually possibly work with me, go to johnweberg.com, and there's options to do it for free. There's options to pay. I'm open to either one, whatever you prefer.
That was funny. John, thank you very much for coming on the show today.
Thank you too. I appreciate your time, and I hope your audience has an absolutely amazing day.
Oh, thank you very much. But John, I can't let you go yet. Wait a second.
Oh,
I gotta ask you the question, man. I gotta ask you the question. My would you rather question. Would you rather choose 3 doors or a fork in the road?
I thought about this because you warned me a bit. and I don't know anything else, but I would have to go with a fork in the road.
Okay.
You want my response?
Yeah.
Why?
Yes.
Because if the one side doesn't work out, I at least know the other side might work out. It gives me a little bit higher percent chance of making something work out right.
And so here's the thing, because one of the things you had mentioned was you was wondering if there's some higher thing about that question, right? There isn't, right? Because it just shows our personality. It shows what we think as entrepreneurs, business persons, whatever it is, and that there's no right or wrong answer to any of this. It's just how your mind works.
Interprets.
You get what I mean? And the key is that I did not add no parameters. I just asked you a general question.
Right. And I love it because it's open answer. It's like, am I supposed to answer this a certain way? Should I give reasoning? I love that.
And so it shows sometimes how much of in the box that we are in or we put ourselves in. So as you're talking about being a marketer and things like that, how do we open ourselves up and not get so consumed with who we're talking to, or I'm sorry, not who we're talking to, but who we are comparing ourselves with?
Yeah. No, totally. And that's a huge thing of entrepreneurship is that. So I'll say to people, something I've lived by my entire life is that you are responsible for the great things. So not all, but a lot of the bad things too. You are wholly responsible for your life. And the more you can be creative, the more you can better know yourself,
right?
How you deal with your problems. Can I get one quick message?
Yeah, sure.
Along with communication, something else that's a recent concept that I want to kind of dive into, like when I just sit and think and hang out with myself, or with friends and stuff, is we think often that problems are bad, that things that happen to us are horrible, and you can take it that way. But a big lesson in life that I learned that's very difficult to actually sink your teeth into and accept is that your problems, the bad things that happen, the horrible things that happen, you name it, everything is a lesson. That guy who cut you off, that bank overdraw, that you name it, that happens to you, there's a lesson you can get from that and that you should probably receive from that. Because often we push to the side, we blame it, you name it. That's been one of the biggest things in my life is, whatever's going on.
Right.
It's from the big to like my stepmom just found out her best friend and her dad both have cancer.
Wow.
Or timing of that is horrendous.
Right.
But someone could go, this is horrible, like this is atrocious, but maybe I'm going to spend more time with my dad than I would before.
Right.
Maybe I can connect deeper with my father. I can learn more from my father because maybe if people have died from a heart attack, I wouldn't have gotten any time with him.
Yep.
So it's very difficult to do, especially in hard situations. But I advise people, take from every problem that happens around you a lesson, take something positive, because that's the best thing you can do. There's nothing better than taking the best way with the situation that you can.
Man, I appreciate it, man. Again, that's that fork in the road mindset.
Yes, sir. One or two, you got to do something.
Pretty much. John, thank you very much for coming on the show. I appreciate you.
Thank you as well, and everyone have an amazing day. And I appreciate you, Maurice. And let's get it. Today's the day. Take some action and get to your life. It's not waiting for you. You got to get to it.
Y'all heard it here. That will never work, right? Don't allow the naysayers to hold you back. I thank y'all very much for listening, y'all. Talk to you later.
Okay.
Thanks for listening. Find us on social media at Chisholm Group LLC and check back weekly for new episodes. Until next time, that will never work, or will it?